Welcome to Land Academy. I'm Jack Butella.
I'm Jill DeWitt.
We show you how to buy real estate for half of what it's worth.
And sell it on the internet really fast.
We are Jack and Jill,
and this is the Jack and Jill Show too.
With over 15,000 completed transactions, we're the experts at acquiring property.
Of all kinds, not just land.
For half price and flipping them for way more.
All right, let's get this show started.
Welcome, everyone. Jill here with...
And Jack here.
Great.
And Seth somewhere, but not yet.
Seth Williams is here. I see him typing. We are so happy that you are here with us, and we're so happy that Seth is here with us today.
We're going to talk about having a tiny little baby in the house more than land today.
There's Seth.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Seth, how are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Great.
Good. I've got a little bit of a cold today, so if I sound weird, that's why. That's my excuse.
Couldn't be lack of sleep with all the stuff going on in your home, is it?
Yeah, it could be part of that too. I don't know. Something.
Got it.
What's it like? Did you forget how to have a baby?
The first baby we had was a total nightmare. I mean, it was like my wife was in labor for like literally 4 days. She had failure to progress, and it was a bad experience. And this time we just did a plan.
This is classic Michigan stuff right here.
Yeah. So it was pretty easy, honestly. We just did the surgery thing and it was done. So
Well, you know what? It sounds like the only thing she could do was go up from there. So anything would be better.
yeah, we aimed really low our first time. So.
It's like your first land deal. You got to screw some stuff up.
Yeah, exactly. It only gets better, right?
That's right. Maybe by the 8th kid, you'll have this down.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Our number one kid's still messed up today.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
true.
yeah? It happens.
It does. Well, we are so happy and excited to have you. And we don't really have a formal agenda today because we thought it'd be fun just to kind of see where this goes. We want to hear what you have going on.
I have an agenda.
Oh, well. Uh-oh. Does it have to do with the call?
No, you know what it is, Seth? Here's my agenda.
What's that?
The way you started in this land business is not how you are right now. I remember probably a year and a half ago, you and I spoke and you said, my business model is not really to do 1 million deals a minute. It's really to do one or two, maybe one a month, and net 10 grand out of each deal and work for the government forever. And I'm obviously paraphrasing. And now you're like doing 100 deals a minute and you don't work for the government and you have more kids than then.
Yeah, it's really, my whole model, I guess, is to not be totally dependent on any one business. So that's why I've got a few different things going on. But yeah, really the latest thing that I've been doing with the land business is really what you guys have been kind of teaching all along, is the whole blind offer thing through a list service like that. But as you know, I had started doing the delinquent tax list when I got started. Mm-hmm. I think there's some validity to that, and there's some pros and cons that come with it. But, I've been hearing about everybody doing these blind offers, and it's like, well, I got to get my feet wet more with this and be more familiar with it. So I've been doing that for the past several months, and it's been interesting. At first it didn't go great, but I've kind of found my groove, and it's going really, really well now. Like, there's like more deals than I really have room to handle, which is really cool. So
how many deals are you doing, bud?
Right now I've got like 8 of them in the hopper and that was from one blind offer campaign.
Awesome.
Like 900 letters that I sent out. So
that's 10%, isn't it? Mm-hmm. No, it's 1%. That's great.
You know what, Seth, as you're talking and we're just looking at each other, we're going to hook you up.
Yeah.
You
if you want.
Wait till you see what we got that we can help you with
Cool.
With your data and mailers and everything. So I'm looking at my producer right now so she can later on today or tomorrow, she'll get you all passwords and logged in so you can see what we got going on. That'll really, really help you.
We would love for you to be an honourary member for the data access and everything else.
Whoa, that'd be sweet.
It's like
you guys,
it's the Hollywood version of, we're going to give you an honorary PhD.
Yeah, we are.
And you don't have to pay her anything.
I'll take it.
Cool.
Yeah, let's
Just don't turn out like Bill Cosby, all right?
I will not. But I think it's really cool what you guys are doing, man. There's so many like websites and products and services you're bringing to the market. It's like I don't know how you do it all, but it's really cool to be just this a shop that offers so many things to land investors.
We take the approach to rolling out these products the way that, I think most people should do their first land deal. We just really mess it up before it gets launched and then fix it as you go.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And eventually you end up with something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we all listen. We all work together really well. And a lot of our products are because our folks keep saying, we need help with X.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then Jack and I go, all right, we're going to figure this out.
It's all driven based on what they request. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, things I've just been hearing about. You got Landpin, you've got Jill Live, you've got landinvestors.com, you've got Deed Perfect. I'm probably hitting like 1% of what you're doing.
I'm going to put them up on the screen while you're talking.
Is there like a top 3 that you are putting most of your time into at this point? Or what's you have a priority list, or you just sort of doing it all at the same time? How do you
It's organized chaos around here is really what it is, Seth.
If you can see the screen, Landpin's live, Land Academy we all know about. Parcel Fact, I'm going to do a demo here in a little while. It essentially allows you, I did a short one last week, but it allows you to find any property. There's 148 million properties in the database, so that's pretty amazing. County-wise, the front of it is, the County-wise is the comprehensive resource on the internet to find anything that's going on in that county, whether it's tax sales or anything else. Let's see, Land Crowdfund is, I'm working with a bunch of people that are really interested in never sending a mailer out, but getting involved from a partnership standpoint on a deal-by-deal basis. So our members will be allowed to post a property the same way we post it on Landpin, and find a partner that'll fund the whole thing and split the profit.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Jack Jill is just our silly podcast. Parcel Split is a comprehensive resource to subdivide property on a county-by-county basis.
Mm-hmm.
Offers to owners includes a ton of... Are you bored yet, Jill?
No. That's
Offers to owners is, and we're really close to launching this, probably within days.
mm-hmm. 2 weeks.
Access to RealQuest Pro, Title 24/7,
Title Pro. Mm-hmm.
the spatial thing, what we just talked about,
And a
Parcel
mailer
Facts,
discount.
and then the letter stream mailer at 49 cents a
Mhm.
unit. So that's for people who have done a few deals already. They don't really want to be involved in Land Academy. They don't need it. They just, they're involved in, they've already done some deals.
Mm-hmm.
Land Investors is the head of the monster, and that's actually where Success Plant will be hosted shortly here. So it's primarily the forum. You're familiar with Success Plant, right, Seth?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Offers Academy will probably realistically launch in 2018, where it's a different database set, but you can buy, it's the same concept. I've proven it over and over. You can buy cars and boats and aircraft this way. Tax sale forum and back tax lists will, is with intent, put, what's the name of that site that we dislike? That I talk about in the program all the time? Those guys they don't cut.
TaxSaleList.com or something?
Or
Yeah,
e-tax
tax sale
sales.
lists.
Yeah.
E-tax sales and tax sale lists.
Both of
If
them.
we do this properly, we'll be out of business within a couple months.
They will be.
Yeah.
Not we.
And then Title Mind is the shop for Title Mind, and I'm interviewing title companies right now, where you can literally type in the property that you want to purchase, and it will be assigned to a title agent anywhere in the country, and for an extremely deep discounted. We're looking at $300 or $400 to get a whole escrow/title policy completely done. So we're trying to take all the BS out of this, quite honestly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting a pretty good response.
It's going to be all automated someday. It's just going to be pick a county and a parcel size, and then everything else just happens.
I don't know if it'll ever get to be that point, but it'd be cool.
So I'm curious, are you guys are you outsourcing this stuff to contractors, or do you have employees working on all this? Because I look at one of those things and it's like, man, that would be a ton of work to do that. How do you organize all that?
Thank you for asking that. We have several IT people on staff that are using IT people all over the world to develop this stuff. And some of it goes really well and quickly, and some of it doesn't, like everything, I guess.
Sure.
But we want to be, we would like to be the land resource for any type of land, whether it's, Toll Brothers buying farm property to subdivide and build houses or anything. Anybody who's involved in the land business.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah,
it's awesome. Crazy, but yeah, most of it is, it's really us, Seth. And I look at us some days and I'm like, we must be crazy. Even like today, we just did a awesome meetup. We had so much fun, got to meet a lot of our people last night. So we came off of that, and of course we went out and celebrated a little bit last night. So we wake up this morning, you hit the ground running, and here we are, quickly promoting today and showing up on a call. And as soon as we're off, we're going to divide and conquer and get some more stuff done. But it's really fun.
Jill just got up like a half hour ago.
I did not. You're so silly. I wish.
So tell us about these deals you're doing, these 8 deals. What do they look like? Are they similar?
Yeah, well, I like to go after the bigger fish. And so I was looking specifically for properties between like 10 and 20 acres. And so I've just been mailing to a couple specific counties, which will not be named here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at a couple of counties and just gotten tons of results from one in particular. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just got lucky or something, but it's just been really great. And it's nice because what I was sort of used to, because I've done this for years, was I was getting a lot of leads coming in through my website. And that was really nice because it was free, but it was also less nice because I couldn't really choose what kinds of properties were going to come in the door. And with this, with the way that you guys sort lists and the way that I'm doing it now, it's really nice that you can just specify exactly, to a T, the kinds of properties you want coming through the door. So everybody that contacts me is exactly the kind of property I want. And occasionally there's little things that kind of throw a wrench into it, but usually it ends up going through. So yeah, it's nice because they're big enough that I can justify using a title company and I don't have to get my hands dirty with all that. And it's just big town, like 20, even 30 acre properties, I think. Are
you doing most of this, yourself, or have you hired some help yet?
I'm doing all the direct mail and stuff myself. I've not hired anybody, but I think I need to, mainly on the selling end, because I just don't have time to deal with tire kickers and that kind of thing. So
right. Well, what, out of curiosity, because I'm right now, creating Jill Live, and I did a poll. I'm trying to figure out what's everyone's biggest issues so far. It's home, it's phones and properties. What's your big hang up? What could you use help with? I'm just curious.
What's your mental problem?
No, not that.
I think for me, it's sort of like, it's like a personal problem of mine. Like Jill, I sort of get and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of get the vibe that like, you're really good on the phone and you're really good at talking to people and you can deal with people's stupid questions all day long. And that doesn't bother you, but
correct.
For me, I just get fatigued with that. Like
I can't take it either.
I think I agree. There's only so much of that I can take. And especially just given all the flaky people out there who say they're going to do one thing and then they don't do it. And it just bothers me. And I don't have the energy to do that. And I can, but I don't want to. So for me, it would be getting somebody to help, just posting properties, handling the calls that come in, and just facilitating that so I don't have to.
Cool. Thank you.
Super cool.
Is Jill Live more for like handling the calls from sellers that come in, or is that for the sales side of things?
You know what? As I'm putting it all together right now, I'm adding more to what we're going to provide. And like one of them is I have a professional writer in my back pocket who just started working for me and doing stuff. And she actually came to me and said, hey, I'm looking on Landpin at some of these guys, descriptions. I could do this so much better. I'm like, okay, hold on there. So I'm looking at all kinds of things, inbound phone for sellers and buyers, maybe rolling that in, and doing some of the property postings and writing some descriptions. So that's what I'm kind of trying to see where what the top things are everybody needs now. And I'll try to tackle those first. and then I'll roll in some other things later if anybody needs help with just, getting the deeds done or setting up a notary and that kind of stuff. I can roll that in later.
Sure.
We're really trying to, engineering is a big gripe for a lot of people. And, when I say that, I mean posting properties. So LandPin on the back end is we're developing a module right now. So you enter in all the stuff from LandPin that you can. So you have a regular posting and then you hit a button and it goes everywhere else. It goes to Zillow, Trulia, LandWatch, Land and Farm, and the whole thing. We're really just trying to make the mundane stuff a lot easier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's huge.
There's no replacement for pricing a mailer. And I think that that's just something that, I've literally sat down and tried to write algorithms based on completed sales and stuff. And you just have to feel it. There's some math, but you have to feel it too. So I wanted to ask you how you price mailers.
Well, there's a couple different ways. There's actually, I was just trying to nail down pricing it based on assessed values a little bit because I kind of had a vague idea, but I wasn't really that clear on it. So I basically put together, or I download the spreadsheet, and with RealQuest Pro, I know it shows the assessed value of each property, but does it show like the actual total market value too?
Yeah,
It does. Okay,
but you're at the mercy of the county that's supplying the data, and some of them are real strong, and some of them aren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I basically, I've been looking at the total market value and doing offers somewhere around like 5 to 15% of that number, which may or may not be, accurate, but that's kind of what I've been doing. What do you guys do? Do you do the assessed value first, or do you get more specific than that? Or
we don't price off of assessed value. I don't even look at it. Okay. What we do is we take listed property from more than one source. So let's just say Land and Farm, maybe LandPin, and maybe LandWatch. And we look at the lowest, second to lowest, or third lowest priced property that's out there. Mm-hmm. This is in lieu of not having completed sales, and we're solving that too. So if you just have to go on it like I'm talking about here, then we try to, our target purchase price then becomes half of that. So if a property in Northern Arizona is the bottom 2 or 3 properties is around $5,000, we want to buy it for $2,500. So we go in even lower than that, maybe half of that. To try to come in at around 20 to 30% of what we think the retail price is.
Sure. Okay.
Because we're wholesalers, we want to sell it to somebody who's going to make more money than us. That's the whole model.
So in that model works everywhere, like in every market, like even the really expensive ones, or is that something that just works on like the lower end markets?
We're doing deals based on this exact model in Santa Barbara County, which is extremely high end, like movie star ranches, for upwards to $1 million, and it's working great. Sure. From a percentage standpoint, it's working better than desert property.
Sure.
And then there's way bigger bang for each deal, bigger, dollar bang.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dollar bang.
Dollarbang.com. Here it comes. He's going to create a new company around that.
Hey, have you guys ever worked in Iowa by any chance, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, that's farmland. So, and there's a whole different approach to that because in my opinion, we know some people from Iowa actually really well. And if every time I see there are snowbirds that come into town, every time I see them, I'm like, what's an acre going for? Farmland now. And they have a real specific answer, and they're not even farmers. They're not in the industry. So everybody talks about it. So buying farmland is harder, and I have not ever done it. But the guys that tell me you just got to go in around 80% instead of 20 or 30, and you can usually pick up some property.
Yeah, I've got a cousin who's a farmer in near Iowa, near the South Dakota border, and same kind of thing where he's just like, yep, it is exactly this amount for farmland, and being a farmer, he actually wants to buy land, and he wants me to buy land with him, and I just keep thinking, is there a way to get cheap farmland? But it seems like in that kind of market, like, prime farmland, like really in the world, it would be pretty hard to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost kind of like, going into Manhattan or something and trying to get stuff for cheap there. It's just like,
right.
It doesn't work that way. I don't know, but it just seems like that.
I've backed into the economics of the crop yield on an acre of farmland. And it's like, as a business model, like we're all used to doubling our money. Sometimes and I'm sure you hear this too, people get upset that they only doubled their money.
Mhm.
With farmland, I mean, the return on investment is silly. It's like 1% a year.
Mhm.
And so as a business, farming really is, unless you're Monsanto, it's tough.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it
Usually,
some of it who you know too in farmland? I thought some of it you gotta,
yeah.
It's like a old boys group.
I think there's a lot of that going on. Yeah,
that's what
I think they're used to auctions, so I think our farmland gets auctioned off that way. They want to keep it in the state kind of thing,
and so in the family.
There's a lot of things going on versus vacation property and ranches and what we do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's cool.
But try it out, Seth, and be our guinea pig, please.
Yeah. Do you guys know, Jackie, I mean, being a data guy, have you ever heard of anything similar to CoreLogic in Canada or really for that matter, any other country in the world? Like, does CoreLogic work in any other countries, or is there a equivalent? Like, say if I wanted to try to do this in England or something like that, I mean, is that doable?
Yeah, Jill and I just met with like the number 3 or 4 guy at CoreLogic like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so for the regular people on the call or the people that listen to our show, they've already heard this, but they so their main clients or customers are insurance companies and oil companies. They use data in an intense way. And so they go into countries where that stuff's prevalent. They're full blown will be releasing products in Australia and New Zealand.
Cool.
And Canada, they have no plans at all, but I've tapped the source. Everything's consolidated in Canada. So there is a source of data in a database where that's all set up to look up 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 properties. And I've been talking, I haven't gotten very far, but I've been talking to the people who run that database to see if we can access it with the way that we access CoreLogic or RealQuest. And I have not gotten far yet, mostly because of what's on the screen right now, because I'm putting time toward that, but Canada's coming. Let me put it that way.
Cool. Awesome.
The provinces don't have the power that the counties and the states seem to have here over like taxing authority stuff. It all seems to be really federal government up there.
Yeah.
I think you're in Grand Rapids. You're a little north of Canada right now too, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I was to go like directly east, I think I would hit Canada. Yeah, it's not far from here at all.
Can you speak Canadian, eh? People tell me I have a Canadian accent.
Really? Huh.
My sister lives in Traverse City, and it's like talking to somebody from Toronto.
I was going to ask you, Jack, you don't have any brothers, do you?
No.
Okay. Because there's this guy at the gym that I see every so often. Like, he looks just like you. Like, he looks like you, maybe like 15 years older. And it's like, man, that guy's got to be related to it.
It's hilarious.
But
my whole family, both sides are from that area. So it's possible that there's a gene pool mix there. This is kind of fun not talking about land on this call that we're supposed to be talking about.
I like that. This is much better. We are still
forgot why we were here.
Okay, let's take some questions.
This is better.
I want to hear what Seth's going to answer on some of these questions.
All right.
Can you take this one, Jill, that just popped in
or
Craig to everyone?
All right. I'll read Craig's here. Hi, everyone. I have a property left over from my first mailer. It's currently landlocked. Haven't determined access yet. It's 5 acres and beautiful mountain views. But you have to hop a fence and walk across private property to get there right now. I don't need to do anything with it right now. It's in a weed-friendly state. Oh, okay, got an idea there. And some locals are interested in growing on it. I'd lease it to them for a percentage of revenue. Or I can just try to sell it for $1,000 to $2,000 and move on. Does this sound like, I'm guessing, a good idea?
Sound like a worthwhile thing to try, or would you do the same? Seth, can you answer? Would you like to answer?
I missed that first sentence because I was looking at this chat box. What I caught was that he's got a lead on a landlocked parcel in a weed-friendly state, and he's not sure whether to buy it. Is that the idea?
5 acres, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've done some pretty good landlocked deals before.
Me too.
It really doesn't mean anything bad to me as long as I can get it for cheap enough. So, it just kind of depends on, how low of a price I could get on it. I'd probably pursue it, at least send the offer. But would you guys say the same, or what would you do?
I would absolutely pursue it, but not veer from our business model. So, and part of the question that Craig asked is, would you take a percentage of revenue, or would you just try to sell it? And this revenue sharing thing, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. It's too much stuff to monkey with, I think.
Right. It's a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy the property. I would run that property through all the tests of our normal business model. And if it passes them, I would sell it for $1,000 or $2,000 and then move on.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Good. Michael Alon wrote, it doesn't make sense to buy title insurance when flipping because the policy is only good for as long as you own the property, right? When would you want to buy title insurance? Only when selling on terms?
You know what, Seth, can you answer that? Let's have Seth be the first answerer of all these.
I like that.
Well, Leslie doesn't want to. Well, we just
say pass.
You're an honorary member of Land Academy now, Seth. So
yeah,
I
sweet.
think you're obligated.
Initiation by fire.
Well, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of title insurance is that it basically protects you. If there was some cloud on the title that you didn't catch, and then you signed a warranty deed over to somebody else. So it's like, even if there was, there could be an issue that comes up after you don't own it anymore, and they could potentially come back to you if you were the one that promised something you couldn't deliver. And then that's when title insurance would kick in and save your butt. Is that right?
That's exactly my understanding, yeah.
Okay.
And I like it, even though, you know what, when I'm posting property and I put in there that we acquired it with title insurance, everybody just kind of goes, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. They breathe a little bit. And we'll even post in the posting, the policy, a link to the policy so they can go see it and know that we did our due diligence. And then I think we get more out of the property sometimes, get a little bit of a higher price because of that.
I agree with you, Joe. I was going to say that. It's not often that we agree, by the way. Now with Seth on the call, we have a third person to disagree with.
There we go. Or he'll pick sides.
No, I think you're dead right. Both of you, actually. It really serves as a marketing tool, especially if you connect the PDF with the deal, right with the posting.
That's cool. I've actually never thought about that, using it as a marketing tool, but that makes a lot of sense. I usually kind of thought of it as, especially like the more expensive a property gets, the higher likelihood a title company is going to get involved, and somebody's going to want title insurance and all that. There's more money on the line. And, if I know that potential need is coming down the road, I can kind of make double sure it's going to be fine if I get title insurance when I buy it. But for me, it kind of comes down to the market value of the property. It's like, if it's a really cheap one, I usually don't bother with it. And if it's a more pricey one, then I will. And it's almost sort of what I like more is just having a title company do it. So I don't have to monkey around with the paperwork and the logistics of all of it. And just the time it frees up for me, and knowing that, this person's going to be doing it right is a really nice benefit.
Right. If you get the right title agent, half the work in this is closing these deals. So if you get the right title person, we're fortunate to have them on our staff, former title people. But if you get the right title agent going, for years, they can close deals for you in 2 weeks, because these are the easy. Title agents love these types of deals. There's no real estate agent to bark at them. And there's no lender, saying that they're doing stuff wrong. So without a lender and just two people to deal with, and if you go the extra step and collect all the docs from the seller like you do anyway, they love it.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Jason wrote, I'm buying a property in a trust where the settlers, if it's seller, have passed away. The son and daughter... The son and daughter are co-trustees and are alive and able to sign the new deed. Do you recommend having an attorney look at the trust document to make sure the co-trustees have the legal right
to sell?
Okay.
Am I answering this first?
Yeah, Seth, you're first.
What would you do?
Well, I worked a little bit with trusts when I was in banking, so I sort of understand it. I wouldn't say 100%, but 80%. So I can get reasonably comfortable with that, but the average person, I would not expect to really know that. trust documentation can get really weird, especially if you get like amendments to it and state specific and county specific issues. And it's just, I would say, like if I was talking to anybody who was either new to the business or they're not a, closing specialist, I'd say probably to get a, title company or attorney to take a look at it. I haven't always done that, but that's because I sort of know more than the average person on that. So what would you guys do?
I mean, you were a lender, FHA lender, right?
SBA actually. And it was,
that's right. That's right.
I wasn't employed by the government, but they outsourced their work to us. So it was kind of a quasi-government thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty comfortable with them too because we've been doing it for so long. Mm-hmm. I mean, I make sure that all the, kind of like I'm doing my own due diligence on when I'm going back and, researching title, I research this and make sure everything checks out. And you better believe I have a copy of that document too when I'm doing this whole thing.
This is how I explain it. There are entities out there that can legally own land. And you start with an individual, they can own land, or a married couple, or 3 people as partners, or an LLC, and you keep moving up the chain. And a trust is just an entity that's legally allowed to hold property. So if it cross-checks, you cross-check it the way that you cross-check an LLC. Make sure the person that's signing is, able to sign for the LLC and on and on. So trusts themselves, I think, I'm not afraid of them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm not either. Did we go on? I'm
go
just
ahead,
kind of go down the list here.
Yeah.
Okay. Anwar wrote, I'm getting a great response from this one subdivision. I can buy like 11 properties, all for one. It says 1 acre. I wonder if it means one. I don't know what all 11 properties, all for 1 acre. I'm not sure. The lowest listed sale price is $3,000. I have them in a contract for $500. One of it's other people's students just sold one for $1,800.
We make fun of Mark on the show sometimes, Seth.
These are Park Medalskis. I'm concerned that my inventory will be all the same acreage in the same subdivision. Oh, okay. Can I overbuy, or did I hit?
Can I answer this?
Yeah, hit the jackpot.
Because I spoke with Anwar about, I'm not going to talk about the county at all, but I know that the deal that he's talking about, and what he's asking is, am I buying too many properties in one little area, and will I be able to sell them, versus having one property in each state, 50 properties, one in each state kind of thing? And the answer is no. I think it's a reasonable deal. I think you can buy 20 or Jill and I have purchased 1,100 properties in one county in one sitting. Mm-hmm. And we sold them all really well. So it's all about passing the regular tests. And I know the subdivision that you're talking about, and I think you should be running to the bank. You shouldn't be on this call. That's how good this deal is, I think.
Yeah, hang up now. Love it. Hey, Kathleen. Okay, when a parcel's landlocked, how do you answer direct questions from interested buyers about access? I spell it out exactly.
I want to hear Seth's.
Yeah, what do you say, Seth?
I just lie to them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, if I know it's landlocked, I'll just say, yeah, there's no road access to it. And it sort of depends. I know some states, like I think Texas is one of them, where, the local government can basically force an easement through somebody else's property.
Arizona and California are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've looked at doing that in Michigan, and apparently that's not a thing in my state, which kind of stinks. But if that's a possibility or not, it's something I definitely mention. Like, I'm not going to do it, and I haven't done it, but you have that option if you choose to buy it. Mm-hmm. So there is a potential solution. It's just not in place yet. But it just kind of goes back to the importance of getting landlocked parcels for dirt cheap. It's sort of using that attribute in your favor because, in some ways, if a property doesn't have legal access, might as well be on the moon, right? So that's what you do when you buy. But on the sell side, you just kind of, I thought I heard you say something really good, Jack. Maybe it was you, Jill. Just how hey, if you want to get a property where you can just get lost and nobody will ever find you, this is the one. I love the way that's worded. It's perfect.
Totally.
I'm shocked at the number of people that specifically requested.
Yeah. I've told people, do you have 4-wheel drive and a GPS? And they're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you have
I'm like, okay.
No idea. People lift their cars up really high sometimes.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had interesting. Yeah. So that's one of those things that I've learned. I was just sharing with some people last night. I stopped, assuming or guessing what I think people want, because just because it doesn't appeal to me doesn't mean there's somebody out there that doesn't love it. And it's, you just got to reach that person. And it's awesome. All right. This is a good one. This is kind of for you, Seth. Steven says, Seth has an article about perk tests. Well, he's asking us, but I want to ask you, what do Jack and Jill think about this? And if you're doing some residential lots as compared to recreational property?
I mean, I'd love to hear Seth's answer on this. Perking, we don't perk anything out here, but because I'm from Michigan, I know what it is. So do you perk test anything ever, Seth?
I have on one occasion. It was a really high-end property I was putting a decent amount of money into it. And so I did in that case. But usually, no. Usually what I would look at is, the properties in the immediate vicinity, are there houses there? Because if there are, those
exactly how I would answer this question. Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, there are other less practical ways to get the answers or get really good indications without actually ordering a perk test. But usually just really high level indicators like, looking at houses nearby are a pretty good way to do it. Or I know like you were saying, Jack, there's places out west where this is just a non-issue, but it can be a huge issue in Michigan, and probably I would assume other places like Florida and places with lots of lakes like Minnesota. So it's I think some counties are almost more renowned for that than others. So if you kind of know it's an issue in a certain area, that can kind of be on your radar as well.
Yeah, if you've lived, especially out west, if you've lived in any one state, I can tell you pretty much just by barroom conversation where there's water in the state and where there isn't.
You can learn a lot from barroom conversations.
Boy, there's like 3 or 4 or 15 derogatory things that just went through my
mind.
It's not just our closed group today. This is open to the public. So
that's true.
The FBI is probably on the call.
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Okay. Kyler said, I'm going to file for an LLC next week. My LLC will be a different name for my domain and my land website. That's cool. I've already checked with the Secretary of State, and I know which of my preferred names are available, but only a couple of them also have a domain available. Do I need to own the domain of my LLC name, or does that even matter?
It doesn't matter one bit. In fact, there's arguments on both sides to name your LLC and the name of your company the same, or to not, and completely make it a different name. So, it's personal preference. I kind of lean toward having an operating company with the same name, and then having another LLC, which is kind of a back-end asset holding company with a completely and entirely different name. And we're a 2 and 3 LLC family over here. We don't ever put all the assets or the eggs in one basket.
Per person.
Yeah. Yeah, per person.
What about you, Seth?
Yeah, I would agree. I know like one example might be if you've heard of the website ITI Direct Mail, their domain is letterprinting.net. So it's like, it's not the same. And if you really were concerned about that, you could always file a DBA for your LLC just to catch that other name too. But yeah, I don't think it really matters.
Have you had any legal, just for fun, you've been doing this for a while, have you had any real legal issues with buyers or sellers?
Like in terms of, you sold me something and you didn't tell me about this or something like that?
Exactly those terms.
No, I've never had that.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
actually. I just refund their money if they're upset about anything. I don't do it 10 years later, but if they're upset about anything, or they have buyer's remorse, we'll just say, yeah.
I've had my wife flipped out.
Yeah.
I've had that one. Yeah, you just refund them on.
Yeah, that's that was something I was pretty worried about when I was getting started. Like I don't know, I fretted a lot about that kind of thing, and it was apparently all in vain because it hasn't really been an issue for me. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kyria asked, it says, Seth, I follow your video tutorials to set up my website, and I really appreciate the help. What is the best company to use to accept payment through my website? This will be good to see who Seth uses.
Yeah, the one that I've been using as of late is called BluePay. And that's I actually found out about it through the forum that I run. And it's, man, I actually spent a ton of time last year trying to nail down, who is the best option for this. And it was hard because when I was really digging into the details, like all of these companies disallow real estate transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not they actually, enforce that, I don't know, but it's in their fine print when you read through it. And it was like driving me crazy. And so, but BluePay was one. I got very, very specific with that. We went back and forth repeatedly. I got it in writing, and they said, yep, you can use this for real estate, whether it's
that's great.
Seller finance deal or a full payment or an earnest deposit or assignment fee or any of that. It's all good. So that's the one I'm using right now.
How much time does it take you to do one blog, like from research and the whole thing? Because everybody I talk to, like, there's a reason we do a podcast and not a blog, because there's no way I could ever write a better blog than you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. It just depends on the subject and how in depth I'm trying to be. I've had them take anywhere from a few hours to like 60 hours for one blog post. Especially when you're like making videos and putting those in there too, it chews up a lot of time. But
right.
Part of what I think is so cool about it is, I can explain it really well once, and then it's like infinitely scalable. Like it can help thousands of people, which is sort of a different dynamic than like one-on-one mentoring, where it's like, I can only help this one person one at a time. I like the efficiency aspect of being able to help lots of people. So,
yeah. Publishing is just one of the greatest businesses ever. You do it once and then you can just replicate it forever.
Yeah.
And like you said, reach and help.
Yeah, definitely.
Works the other way too. If you're evil, you can spread a lot of badness too pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did that come from?
No, it's like the people who hold free seminars in the lobby of the Hilton.
Oh, yeah. Or just, yeah.
Or a bad infomercial.
Right.
There's no shortage of those at all in real estate.
I'd like to know who's the person who's walking around telling people to send, like, instead of a nice, respectable offer, send those letters. I'm sure you've got them too, Seth. Anybody who owns property, and you it's really easy to get behind on the taxes, and it's not a big deal. And you get all this mail, and then some of them I get so angry because there's some little old lady somewhere that opened it up and is crying because she thinks someone is going to come knock on her door and garnish her
not cool
stuff because she's not paying the property taxes, which is not true. Yep. So those make me, I want to know who's doing that.
Right.
All right. Jason Mayfield asks, is there any difference in pricing the mailer if you want to start out optioning properties versus cash deals? Who wants to address that first?
When I'm doing direct mail, my goal is not to do options. Like that's not what I'm going for. So I always price it as if I'm going to buy it. Usually if I ever go an option or an assignment route, it would be like an afterthought, like, okay, my offer didn't work for you, but this number does. Okay, let's redo this agreement and mark it up and go from there. So in terms of like the direct mail part, I don't even consider that.
I'm getting tired of agreeing with you.
That's exactly.
How are we going to argue at all, Seth, if we all agree on everything?
That's exactly what I do,
That's
Seth.
exactly what we do.
Yeah, and it's sometimes I'll often pass if it's got to be still got to be a really, really good property, because I don't want to have 18 option agreements out there. It doesn't do a lot of good. But
that's why we're starting land crowdfund, because I would like to do away with the options entirely. Mm-hmm. And just have it. If it's good enough to deal, is good enough to do. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got a friend of mine. I've actually known her since 2008. We both kind of started doing land at the same time, and she has sort of moved to like focusing specifically on doing assignment deals, like not buying anything, but just getting purchase agreements and assigning them. And last time I talked to her about it, I think she said it's at least half of the deals just die, or the people flake out and don't follow through. So it's like you're really marketing, putting a lot of effort into finding buyers for these properties with the knowledge that half of your efforts are going to be completely wasted. And I mean, I guess the upside is you don't have to put any money into it, but it's kind of a lot of wasted time and energy too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's worth doing, then do it,
Yeah.
It's so easy to find money too. It's just a matter, that's what this website's supposed to do, to connect to people that really want to lend the money, and everybody who's got the deals, which is what we're all here for, put it in the same format so the person with money can look at 25, 30, or 40 deals and say, I want these 3, or I like this guy's style, I'm going to do more deals with him, that kind of thing. Let's see.
Okay. Luke Smith said or asked, you guys ever do any homestead education to help sell properties? I'm thinking water catchment in the desert and or potable water delivery, or more information about the local RV / small home zoning info, building info, building permit info, etc. What do you think is the most valuable information I can present is
this their sell property, or just kind of information to sort of sell property?
Knowing Luke, yes, it's Luke Smith. He said to sell land, yeah.
I think Seth and us, Land Academy, are kind of in that business. We talk about stuff. Seth writes blogs about topics that are related to land, and in the end probably sells property because of it, and we sort of do that too. So I think that any of those topics, except for homesteading, I'd love to know Seth's opinion on this. I don't think that there's any such thing as homesteading at all, anywhere, no matter who says it.
Yeah, I mean, just to make sure I understand that right, it's just like putting together like a PDF report or something, just like touching on certain topics where it's relevant. Like,
I guess, yeah.
Okay. I've not done anything like that, not that specifically. So I could see how it may be like if you know a market particularly well and you know that there's a particular type of buyer that is always there, always looking for this kind of land for a certain use, and you're going to be in that market, for years to come, then yeah, it could make sense to do that. I guess
be your niche.
Yeah, having not done that specific thing, I don't really know for sure if it's worth it or not. But I mean, for me, it would probably be one of the things that's lower on my list. Like I wouldn't invest a ton of time and effort into that, but it could be something worthwhile. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think everybody's got their thing. For some reason, it's easy for Jill and I to kick out 5 audio shows. I guess it's now video. For some reason, it's just natural for us to do that. For me to write a detailed blog, like it's a dissertation for a PhD, like you do every single week, is that's hard. So whatever comes easiest to you to participate in that kind of thing, I think is good.
Yeah.
Good answer. I like that. All right.
Jules has a saying. She's been saying it since I met her. If it's whatever you're doing, if it's really, really hard, stop doing it. You're not supposed to do that. To be successful at anything, it should be kind of fun and easy. So, and I think it's maybe a Southern California girl coming out, but a little bit of it, but it's not that far off, especially when you get older. It's like, in Michigan, it's like, there's this contest. Whoever suffers the most wins, you know what I mean, Seth?
Well,
old people sit around and say,
horrible economy, or what aspect of that?
My point is, people kind of think that if something comes natural to me and it really is easy, they think I must be doing it wrong. I'm like, no. That means you found something good that you're really good at, and you need to run with that. So that's why you don't get an award for sitting at your desk 10 hours a day, trying to learn something that maybe you probably should have hired somebody at this point for that task. Yeah. So
I think it's kind of a mix. I really, really, really love what I'm doing right now. Like I cannot wait for the workday to start. It's weird. I've never enjoyed what I'm doing so much, but I totally get that, and I know I'm doing the right thing because I love it so much. But at the same time, it's like there's still really hard stuff. Like I think the difference is I sort of have the stamina to get through it now. Like I get why it's still important and why I do it anyway. So it doesn't necessarily mean like the difficult things won't happen. It's just, it's like, how able are you to cope with that and push through? Because if it's just like knocking you out, then maybe it really is the wrong thing.
Right.
Exactly.
Do you work at home?
I do. Yeah.
Wait till the kids start walking.
That's hard, man. I'm in the basement here, and I can hear just screaming and pounding upstairs all day long. And well, it's not actually that bad, but I can imagine it will get much worse when there are a few.
It's gonna have to soundproof it and put a padlock on there. And
yeah, definitely.
They stick him in the basement. That's hilarious. He's the breadwinner, and he's got to sit in the basement.
Exactly.
A nice basement.
Do you guys like Skype throughout the house, or how do you get? Or do you text message throughout the house?
No, we do texting usually.
Okay, good.
It's just so hard to open the door and speak with my voice.
I love it. We do that. Oh, that's so good. All right. This is a good question. Michael Alon asks, Seth or Jack or Jill, do you typically remove LLCs, corps, partnerships, etc., when scrubbing your lists?
Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, that's a good question. I will tell you, to be honest, I do right now when I'm doing my lists, and it's mainly because there's usually well in excess of what I actually want to send out is available. So it's like, because I have, more leads here than I can even work with, let's just get rid of the ones that are going to add a little wrinkle where I have to get extra documentation or figure out trust stuff. So I am currently doing that, but I haven't always been that way. And I don't even think that's necessarily the right answer for you, because they can be done and there can be awesome opportunities there. But currently, I am taking them out, yes.
We'll take those.
Finally, we disagree. I was waiting for us to disagree.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be wrong, guys?
No. Yeah, and it's funny because we've had this discussion among our group, and like some people brought up, do you do churches? And one of our people, Luke Smith here, said, I bought several things from churches and banks and those things too, which we have. So we're not afraid of any, we'll take it. And we're hopes that too, it's not their thing. They just want to get rid of it. And often they do.
Yeah.
We're very liberal data scrubbers. If there's any question, I leave it in. I scrub more for use codes and things like that, and specific use property to get that out of there than I do ownership type.
Cool.
I think the things that apply to sending a mailer to do house deal, it's a completely different data scrub and completely different. The process is the same, but how you price it and which properties are vacant and all that matters with houses, but it doesn't matter with at all with this. That's been my experience anyway.
Yeah. By the way, Luke Smith is awesome.
He's on the call, I think.
I heard his interview on your podcast, and I was checking out his YouTube channel. It's just like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. This is awesome. Like I really look up to him. He's doing a lot of deals, and it just seems like he's knocking it out of the park. I'm sure that probably other people are too in your group, but I've just noticed a lot of his stuff. So good job, Luke.
He's as of last week, a self-proclaimed sociopath.
Yes, he is.
He cares not about people's opinions of the pricing of how his offers go out.
Yeah, you get to that point.
His wife cares about it a little bit, but I love that because I just think it's it's in an unhealthy way. I think it's funny to upset the people think their property's worth a couple $1 million, and it's not. It's worth $1,000.
I think Luke Smith, we should unmute Luke Smith, let him say hello for a few minutes, do your parcel fact thing before we wrap up the call. Luke, will you say hi? I hope he's ready to say hi.
He's probably in the bathtub.
Or he's on a call. Hey, there he is.
I had to find the right button.
Hey, Luke.
I don't know what to tell you. I got like 144 listings created last week, and I'm scared to hit publish. Starting after the phones, and I don't know what to do then. But I bought a lot more properties than that. Just trying to create them all and trying to like add more information, like how far to the hospital and the Home Depot and Walmart and the schools, and like a lot of that kind of detail stuff. I think I can set my ads out ahead of others with.
Oh yeah.
And so it's a lot of same kinds of properties, right? Like portfolio buys. And you guys are talking about 11 properties in the same neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, that's, Then
it's only one posting. That's what's nice about it.
Well, I was doing different postings. So they're trying to point out like different stuff in these properties. and do different prices depending on the attributes. Like some are closer to water, some look like have views or they're next to a pond, or some are on dirt roads, some are on paved roads, some have like neighbors with power lines and others don't, stuff like that. And just trying to like differentiate them all. But I'm do these like stupid low monthly payments on them. And even though you said not to, but I think I'm gonna do a lot of them at like $25 a month for the rest of forever, and just see if I can move them in volume. So one of the strategies I'm trying to do, I'm studying like all these different promoters, like these homestead guys, you know, that are setting up their shop, and they're making, I like YouTube. I'm just a YouTube guy. So they make all these YouTube videos about what they're doing and they're making, and they're creating their place. And like, these guys are talking to people and they're inspiring people that should go out and buy land and do this on their own. And I want to be their like
supplier,
their friend. Yeah. Their supplier. And so like, get all these stupid cheap properties. Other people, I watch woodworking videos, you know, they give away a router. Like, they should be giving away a property to their subscribers, and they promote their channel by, you know, be a subscriber, be a Patreon, be a whatever, and I'll give you a piece of land. And it's being donated, or it's coming from, you know, Luke Smith and his website over here, and he's got a bunch of other ones. And you think you can't afford land, like, this guy's got some cheap stuff. You know, make it available to everybody, and do it on multiple channels, because a lot of those people that watch one, they watch multiple channels. And if they start seeing my stuff in multiple channels, and they're all saying he's got good stuff, here he is, you know, I think that'd be cool. And so to keep them promoting it, I'm trying to give them like coupon codes so they can, you know, the people that come from those specific channels get a discount. I can track where they're coming from. And the guy that, this is one of my questions before, the guy that creates the channel and gets people to use my coupon code, I want to give him a kickback without being like a real estate agent.
Yeah.
But like a kickback for the referral, not the transaction, some wording in there. Maybe I need to get some legal advice there, but.
We'll make him an affiliate, I think. Right, Seth?
Yeah, affiliate, there you go.
Maybe. That's how it works.
I wanted to base it on the dollar transaction of the deal. Like, if they move 5 properties, you know, they get more money than the guy that moves 1 property. Again, if I find one of those channels that does really well compared to the others, give them more deals, give them more stuff to give away, promotions, discounts, like, go sweeten it up to their audience. They should get a better audience. I promote them on my website. You know, they promote me, I promote them, you know, give high fives all the way around. And people will get cheap land and they can use it. And hopefully someday I get some of these people that like buy some land from me and go build everything and build it on YouTube, like the whole
that's a good idea.
And they say, you should get your own land. You should go to Luke and you should get it. And you should use my discount code. Here's, you know, the creator's name or whatever. Use that when you buy it and you get a discount. And that stuff will last a long, long time. It's not like going to Land Watch and paying for the super la 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 account for $500 a month or something, right?
You're cross marketing, and we did a show about that Thursday.
Instead of paying for those ads, if I sunk that money into land and multiplied it, because its value is sought higher than what I'm paying for it in the right audience, you know, multiply that money by giving land away or discounts of some kind to those people, I think it'd be much more beneficial placement of my ad dollars, my promotion money, than paying all these different websites to be posted to get next to everybody else that's got similar properties. And I think you start getting a dichotomy from always being the lowest priced property out there and selling just on price. Eventually, over time, you could sell on other attributes like the information, the full service of, you know, here it is, here's how it is, here's how other people are doing it. And, you know, the price stops mattering as much as the main selling point. I think selling at price is great to begin with, but I think over time you could move beyond just that.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. That's what I'm trying to do. That's like the basis of these questions I keep asking.
I think any unique cross marketing, like we did a tiny houses show this Thursday, Jill and I think it aired on Thursday
Today.
about cross marketing. Oh yeah.
It's Thursday.
In fact, it might have, it just got released now,
Okay.
just 1 minute ago. So, or an hour ago, but yeah, any cross marketing, I think, tiny houses, the people that want these tiny houses need the land too. Or as crazy as it sounds, we sell property like preppers, or that's what they're saying they are. So it is what it is. I don't have any opinion about it, but they all love property that's very rural and very cheap.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Luke. As we get ready to, oh, good, I got a couple in here. As we get ready to wrap this up, I want to share and I want to set the beginning of this new product that we have coming up. It's Parcel Fact, and Jack's got a couple. I've got a couple right here, counties and APNs. Let's do this Colorado. Weld, Colorado.
This is the not even beta version of type in what you want.
WELD. Nice. I don't even know Weld counties.
I don't either.
So, and then F like Frank, 048 0786. Okay, ready?
That might be an owner number.
1000.
Yeah, it's not. That's not the right. That's an owner number. That's not an APN.
All right, let's do another one here. I don't know, Anwar. Oh, La Paz. How about La Paz County? And there's the APN.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, thanks, Anwar. There we go.
Go ahead.
Okay, 306 09 010. Okay, submit. Okay, 1,000, 2, 1,000. Why are we having trouble here? Sorry.
That's why it hasn't been released yet.
No. I have another one. Okay, wait.
Can you read it to me again? With the dashes, we're going to try this time.
Okay. La Paz, 306-09-010. I haven't even really played with this. I just kind of watched a little bit. No,
that's something's wrong.
Something's up with that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold 1 second here. Kent, what county is yours? Because I've got your APN here. Oh, Kent. Is it Weld, Colorado? Okay. Go back to Weld and try this number when you're ready.
Yep.
Okay. 0533 07 00024. I think you might have one more zero in there, but let's try this real quick.
Well, which one is it?
I think it's 4 zeros. Yeah, 4 zeros.
This is like playing bingo.
It kind of is.
Not that I know about that.
There we go. Now we can see how great this thing is. And it's so awesome. We were looking at this the other day.
This is what I
This one's an easy one because it has 4 points, but we pulled up a property that had like 19 different actual points on it, and it had it perfect. So this is a pre-beta. And so what we've got too, which I love, are these 3 shots down here that are you were meant to like right click on them and save the image for the posting. So it does a ton of the engineering work where you don't have to take the screenshots and all of that stuff. This is, and when we release it, it'll be way more robust than this. And the data over here, acres, range, and the whole thing, owner and assessed value and all of it, there's a ton more data. So, and at some point, we won't release it this way, but it will tie into LandPin. So you just don't have to do the posting. You literally put the county, the state, the APN, and it populates 80% of what needs to be there. And then the creative stuff, Jill Live will handle. Bingo.
And then you just push the button and it pushes it all to the other sites around the country.
It's going to be awesome.
The sell sites. So we're pretty excited about it. It's awesome when it works, and it's good when you get the right information too.
So that little parcel, that square you're seeing, is that pulling that from like the county's GIS database or from some other place? Like where's that data come from?
It's pulling from a massive database that CoreLogic created called Parcel. What's it? Parcel something.
Is it Parcel Point?
Parcel Point.
But
CoreLogic has a database that they've been working on forever. It's got 47 million properties in it, and it's constantly updated. So it literally is pulling from that database, and we are licensed providers, just like we are with RealQuest. So it's another CoreLogic product, and we'll be adding List Source and a product called Real List, which is usually for it ties into the MLSs. So theoretically, you can get MLS access to every MLS in the country without being an agent. Man, so there's some cool stuff coming. We're on CoreLogic's real good side because as a group, we're pulling hundreds of thousands of records every month, and they just love that. That's their business model, is to not deal with the end user like we do, and to just deal with people like us who are like licensed resellers. Yeah. It's like, and they only do it based on usage. So it's cool.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
Whenever you get this thing up and running, if you ever want me to do a video review or something like that for the blog, I'd be happy to. It seems super good.
Cool. Yeah, we're so excited.
That'd
they have
great,
right now,
huge.
Right now they've given us back end access to the faucet, and it's
we call it the fire hose.
We're like, what the heck? And we're trying to figure out what all we want to use it for and how to present it, and I'm just so darn excited. There's
a lot of high-fiving in our office the last couple of weeks.
Exactly. Hey, well, let's wrap up with this too. Okay, so this is one of the cool things about CoreLogic. At our meeting, when we left our meeting a couple weeks ago, I asked them, hey, I want to do a big fly people into town event. Could you guys show up and do some actual, like, CoreLogic people show up and do some training and help us with some stuff? And they said, heck yeah. Yeah. So I've got them in my back pocket.
The Title 24/7 people are going to come too.
Yep. And so Seth, how's your November schedule look? Can we talk a little later and maybe get you to fly out to LA?
Sure. Sounds like fun.
Good. Okay, good.
Awesome. That's
all
the right
right.
answer.
That is.
We did a little meetup yesterday. I don't know, 10 or 20 people, 20, 30 people were there, and it was a blast.
It's so much fun.
They got a lot out of it. And, we find out where the issues are, where the newer land investors are having issues. And we keep developing products for it.
Exactly.
Sure.
It's good stuff. Well, thank you very much, and so happy to have you, Seth. And I'm going to talk to you more later about that. And so everybody, you heard it here. We're going to put together. Jack and I started to do some little things to kind of test the water and get comfortable and come up with some good topics and things. So we're gonna push, and I'm looking at the end of this year, maybe like November, we'll have it'll be worth flying on an airplane. Come to an event,
especially in November from Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah, an ideal time to get out of here.
Exactly. So
thanks again, Seth Williams of REITipster.com. It's a super treat as always.
You bet. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you next week, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
See ya.
We are Jack and Jill, and this was the
Cash Flow from Land Show. We're the experts at acquiring property
of all kinds, not just land,
for half price, just so we can flip it for way more.
And really fast. Thanks for listening. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.